Before I sit down to try to learn how to draw anything, I always go and grab references. If you want to learn how to draw hands, go get pictures of hands, or use your own hand in real life action. The pictures I have here are just quick little photographs I took of my own hand. But yeah, I always grab reference, and I always begin by studying those super hard. I tend to do lots of little studies of them at different angles, just to get a better sense of how everything looks together. You get, like, if you see something from lots of different angles, you begin to understand its structure a lot better. So instead of trying to draw, say, the same picture over and over again, try grabbing a few different pictures from different angles to get a better grasp on things. And once you have your references, what I tend to do to begin is I literally trace over the photos. Now, this is just a studying tool for me. It really lets me see the different forms, and I break things down into shapes. So I'll take, say, like the palm of the hand and break it down into a square or an almost square. If something doesn't quite fit into, say, like a rectangle or a square or a circle, I will outline it with straight lines and a few curved lines depending on what the shape is. For example, the top of the thumb doesn't quite make a square or a triangle like a lot of the rest of the hand does. So I will just trace the shape I see with straight lines to really simplify it quite a bit until I can understand it. And that's how I can get the weird pad of the thumb that, yeah, looks very strange, and I don't know how to describe it other than draw it very simply and as geometric as you can make it. Meaning, get rid of all those details. You don't need to know those right away. You're learning the structure right now. And you'll start to see patterns the more studies you do of one thing. So with these hands, it's like, very quickly I realize, like, oh, the palm is a square, the fingers are rectangles that are broken down into smaller rectangles. The thumb joint is a square that is rounded off at the corner, and the attachment from the thumb to the palm pad is a triangle, and then the thumb is more squares. Once I start to see patterns here, it becomes a lot easier to draw the hand in weird angles. If I turn it to the side, it's like, well, now it's a 3D square with a bunch of 3D rectangles coming out of it. It becomes a lot easier to continue to recognize the shapes. Because if you look at a hand and it's like got its fingers all out in a weird way, you're like, this looks really complicated, I don't understand where, say, like all the knuckles are. But if you understand how a hand looks like laid out flat and where all the knuckles are, it's like, well, you just need to shorten things a bit, or start looking for clues as to where the knuckles might be. I say this like it's very easy, but it does take a lot of studying. But if you really just pay attention to what you're looking at, draw what you see and not what you know. So instead of trying to make guesswork about, say, where the knuckles are or what you think this finger is, really pay attention to what's in front of you. Draw exactly what you are seeing. Don't try and make stuff up. And eventually the shapes will come a lot easier to you. And now that I have all my references and I understand to turn my hand around, how to do all that, I can draw a decent hand without my reference, because I understand how it breaks down into little geometric shapes. Now, it's definitely helpful when you're looking at this stuff to, say, look at how other artists draw hands and copy them, or you could even take what I've drawn here and try to remake the shapes I've made. But what I'd really recommend, and what will really teach you how to draw hands, is to grab references and use them. And there's no shame in tracing over them, there's no shame in doing a million different little studies of them to figure them out. Hands look more complicated than they are. I remember when I was first learning to draw, I found them very daunting. Because, you know, fingers wiggle all over the place and your palm doesn't always stay flat. It, like, squishes or stretches. The thumb was a complete mystery to me when I was first learning how to draw hands. But you'll find the more you start looking into the structure of everything, the easier they get. Anything you draw can be broken down into circles and squares. It's all doable. I believe in you. Keep practicing, use your references, break things down into shapes. That's how I learned how to draw the complicated stuff. You'll learn the measurements of, say, like all the different finger lengths and the proportions of the finger to the palm and the wrist and stuff. You'll learn that all through practice. So, get out there, grab your references, and start drawing those hands. Alrighty, that's all I have. I hope this helps you, you young artists, you who are struggling with hands. Like I said, they were really hard when I started, but you'll find they get easier over time. Don't be scared of drawing them. You won't learn how to until you try. So, get out there. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, or if you'd like to request a video topic or another tutorial topic, please leave a comment down below. And if you want to see more videos about art and webcomics, make sure to subscribe. We're at Fan Expo right now in Toronto, so if you're at the show, please come say hi to us. We are at booth A72 in the Artist Alley. See ya there. Goodbye!